Hey, welcome everybody. I am Andrew Leosa, Chair of the Budget, Personnel, and Ethics Committee. This is a meeting of Bronx Community Board 7, and it is Monday, December 12th, 2022, approximately 6:09 p.m. And I'm going to read the guidelines. On September 22nd, Mayor Adams issued Executive Order 210 extending the state of emergency through December 21st. Accordingly, boards are able to continue to act under the state of emergency section of the Video Conferencing Law, Chapter 56 of the Laws of 2022, Part WW. This allows the board to continue remotely. Minutes and video recording will be made available on our website. If you are calling into the meeting on the conference, the controls while joining from landline or cell, you can get the controls by calling the dial-up number. To hear all available commands, enter * on your phone. *6, mute or unmute yourself. *9, virtual raise hand. How we run the meeting is as follows. Code of conduct for meetings, penalties and actions. Bronx Community Board 7 has the right to remove and or ask a member of the public to leave a meeting or block participation of anyone who engages in inappropriate conduct, including but not limited to obscene or offensive images or language, personal attacks, threats, or any other behavior that reasonably impedes the orderly administration of the meeting. Repeated offenses will be reviewed by the board's executive committee or any other assigned committee for a ban. The amount of time to be objectively determined by the above committees of the participant in the event of repeated disruptive behavior. If in-person outbursts or attacks continue, this will be considered disturbing the peace, and the authorities shall be summoned. Everyone besides the speaker presenter will stay muted throughout the meeting. After each presentation is over, I will inquire if committee members have questions. Committee members will signify that they have a question by pressing the raised hand button on your screen, Zoom, or request to speak through the chat or when the chair opens the floor. Members of the public who have joined through the on-link link will be able to ask questions and make a brief statement on the item after each presentation and after the committee has had an opportunity to ask clarifying questions. By pressing the raise hand button on your screen, Zoom, or request to speak through the chat, or when the chair opens the floor. Only those recognized by the chair of the committee will be allowed to speak during the allotted time. We will stay on topic with the agenda items. Any other items will be acknowledged by the chair in new business or addressed at the meeting, granted there is time and the committee agrees on the topic. Following the questions, discussion, and public comment portion, the committee will begin their discussions after each presentation agenda item and will conclude with a decision to vote on a recommendation. When the agenda is finalized, the meeting will be adjourned. If there are any questions related to meeting software or to our process, please use the chat function or raise hand function now or contact the district manager. Okay. I will do the Andrew Leosa chair present, that's myself. Eric Asensio. We'll skip him, we'll get back to him. Edgar Ramos. Hugh. Edgar Ramos. Barbara Stranza.
Barbara Stranza is present.
Jaira Arias.
Jaira Arias is present.
Okay, we have a quorum. 3 out of 5 committee members are present. We have the agenda posted. Does everybody have a copy of the agenda? We will skip to the new business. And EO policy. Hold on a second. Does anybody have the EO policy available that can read it?
So the EO policy is a link. Carla, Jay, can you guys drop that in the chat? That was meant more for a reminder of what policies need to be followed. It's a lengthy to read.
Yeah. Guess that's
Sorry.
the best thing to do is post the link.
Yeah, I'll post it in a minute. For some reason, my computer says it's not responding.
I'll just read one paragraph kind of highlighted. Proper training on EEO practices will be enforced. All board members need to understand that this will be held to New York City government hiring standard. Community boards can be sued if any violations occur. All the information has been approved by the borough president's office. And it goes on and on and on and on. Okay. Any new business? We were anticipating that someone would make a motion to go into executive session. Do we have any motions from any board members?
Motion to go into executive session.
I second it.
I will go through a roll call. So the motion on the floor is to go into executive session for the purpose of discussing a personnel matter. Andrew Leos, the chair, approves the motion. Eric Asensio.
I approve the motion.
Sorry, I don't know if everybody heard that. What was that?
Eric Asensio approves the motion.
Barbara Stranza.
Barbara Stranza approves the motion.
Tahira Arias.
Tahira Arias approves the motion.
Motion passes. We will pause while staff removes us into the executive session.
Yeah, Carla.
I'll be right back.
Andrew, did we lose you? No, you're here.
So motion to end our budget personnel meeting so we can start our executive meeting.
Second it.
Oh, the Andrew just got back. I think folks are still like flying through the through the universe.
Portal.
Hold on.
They're floating through the portal.
Yeah, because they're just popping on the screen. So remember, like sometimes the signal to go to, to get out the break room, you have to okay. It doesn't always go through as quickly for everyone, depending on your connection. So Edgar, you want to do a repeat on that?
Yeah, the motion was to end our budget and personnel meeting so we can then go to our executive meeting.
I second it.
The attendance issue, it was on the agenda for a couple months now. It keeps getting skipped over.
So it's okay, Andrew, I'll answer that. The meeting ran longer, so for them not to hurt the exec, it's gonna be tabled for a later time.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you all for holding out there. The Budget Personnel Ethics Committee adjourned for the purpose of addressing a personnel matter which was not resolved, and it will be addressed at a future date. So we are making a public motion to adjourn the meeting of the Budget Personnel Ethics Committee. I think Edgar just did that, so I'll go through the attendance. Andrew Leos, the chair, approves the motion. Eric Asensio.
Eric
Edgar
Asensio
Ramos.
approves the motion. Sorry.
You, Edgar Ramos.
Edgar Ramos approves the motion.
Barbara Stranza.
Barbara Stranza approves the motion.
Jahira Arias?
Jahira Arias approves the motion.
Thank you. Now we begin the executive session.
Okay.
Executive committee.
Right. Okay, good evening, everybody. Sorry, we are a little late, but the Budget Personnel Committee had some business that we had to discuss. I would like to start with the meeting guidelines. My name is Barbara Stronzer, and I'm the chair of the Executive Committee. And this is Bronx Community Board 7. On September 22nd, Mayor Adams issued Executive Order 210, extending the state of emergency through December 21st. Accordingly, boards are able to continue to act under the state of emergency section of the video conferencing law. This allows the board to continue remotely. Minutes and video recording will be made available on our website. If you are calling into the meeting on conference, controls on the landline or your cell are as follows. To hear all available commands, enter ** on your phone, *6 to mute or unmute yourself, *9 to virtually raise your hand. How we will run this meeting is as follows. Bronx Community Board 7 has the right to remove and or ask a member of the public to leave a meeting or block participation of anyone who engages in inappropriate conduct, including but not limited to obscene or offensive images on or language, personal attacks, threats, or any other behavior that reasonably impedes the orderly administration of the meeting. Repeated offenses will be reviewed by the board's executive committee or any other assigned committee for a ban. And time of which will be arrived upon by the committee or of the participant in the event of repeated disruptive behavior. If in-person outbursts or attacks continue, this will be considered disturbing the peace and the authorities will be summoned. Everyone beside the speaker, presenter will stay muted throughout the meeting. After each presentation is over, I will inquire if committee members have questions. Committee members will signify that they have a question by pressing the raised hand button on your screen or request to speak through the chat or when the chair opens the floor. Only those recognized by the chair of the committee will be allowed to speak during the allotted time. We will stay on topic with the agenda items. Any other items will be acknowledged by the chair in new business or addressed at the next meeting, granted there is time and the committee agrees on the topic. Following the questions, discussion, and public comment portion, the committee will begin their discussions after each presentation, agenda item, and will conclude with the decision to vote on a recommendation. When the agenda is finished, the meeting will be adjourned. Okay. All right, we'll start with attendance. Okay, Barbara Stronzer is here. Eric Asensio,
Eric Asensio is present.
thank you. Betty Arce,
Betty Arce present.
thank you. Yahira Arias,
Jahira Arias present.
okay, thank you. Michelle Avila,
Michelle Avila present.
thank you. Andrew Leosa,
Andrew Leosa present.
thank you. Lourdes Acosta,
Lauris Acosta present.
thank you. Edgar Ramos,
Edgar Ramos present.
thank you. Chad Royer,
Chad Royer present.
thank you. Victor Saldana, Victor, okay. All right, we do have a quorum tonight. Good. All right. We have minutes to review from last month's meeting. All right, I'll scroll through the minutes slowly so you can take a look. Okay, we had each committee reporting, as you recall. Okay. Any questions? Do we have a motion to accept the minutes from last month's meeting as presented?
Motion to accept the minutes as presented.
Thank you. That's
Michelle Avila seconds.
okay, Michelle seconds. Thank you, Michelle. And that's Eric. Okay. All right, we'll vote on the acceptance of the minutes. All right, Barbara Stronzer accepts the minutes as presented. Eric Asensio. Eric,
Eric Asensio approves the minutes.
thank you. Betty Arce,
Betty Arce approves minutes.
thank you. Yahira Arias,
Jahira Arias approves the minutes.
okay, thank you. Michelle?
Michelle Avila approves the minutes.
Okay, thank you, Michelle. Andrew Leosa,
Andrew Leos approves the minutes.
thank you. Lourdes Acosta,
Luis Acosta approves.
thank you, Lourdes. Edgar Ramos,
Edgar Ramos approves.
thank you. Chad,
Chad Roy approves.
thank you. And Victor? All right, Victor didn't show. All right, the minutes carry, thank you. All right, we'll move on to the district manager's report. Is she on?
I'll give a couple of updates, Barbara.
Okay, good, Carla, go ahead. Thank you.
So a couple of updates regarding the grant that we received from the New York City Civic Engagement Commission. We were able to engage 41 out of the 40 participants that we were tasked to engage. So that's good news. And I have also been selected to be part of the Bronx Borough Assembly Committee. It's going to be 20 Bronxites who are going to decide what projects will most benefit the communities of the Bronx.
Very nice.
I have submitted our capital and expense budget requests. And we have a new intern. Her name is Brianna Sanchez. She is with us until March 2023. She chose the community board because she's passionate about social work and really wants to connect the community to much needed services. We hosted on November 19th our Bronx Victory Memorial Flagging event in commemoration of Veterans Day. I have linked a folder with pictures into the report. I won't speak more about it because I'm pretty sure Chad will cover it as well. We also hosted the 44th annual tree lighting at Moshulu Parkway, and it was very well attended. A special thanks to our partners, Friends of Moshulu Parkway, for hosting the Winter Village and helping us with goodie bags and decorations. Our sponsors, Montefiore Hospital, Dairy Life, Parts of the Solution, and the New York City Police Department's 52nd Precinct. Thank you to all the staff, Jade, our intern, Brianna Sanchez, our chairperson, Yahaira Arias, and Barbara for being the backbone support for the event. It all went very smoothly. And I also want to thank the board members who were in attendance. And also a special thanks to Council Member Eric Dinowitz and Frederick Klein, who is the Assembly Member Jeffrey Dinowitz's office representative. And I have also linked to the report folder with pictures. If you know, I know Jade is still working on uploading most of the pictures that she took with her camera. So if you don't see some pictures there today, always go back to it and more pictures will be added to it as I receive them. And Together for Kingsbridge hosted a small business discussion to create a community vision for the future of the Kingsbridge Armory. And there are also more upcoming discussions that are taking place with Kingsbridge residents and tenants, street vendors, the health community, and they're also hosting the second public workshop on January 21st, 2022. So whenever you get emails from us, please do open them. We usually send this information via email as well, so you can get engaged and make sure that you provide an input into what happens at the Armory.
Okay, thank you very
Thank
much,
you.
Carla. Any questions for Carla? All right, we'll move on. Chairperson's update.
I see Lowell, you have your hand up?
Oh, I'm sorry, Lowell. I didn't see your hand over there. Go ahead.
I just a general question. According to protocol or bylaw rules, when there is an when the community board goes into an executive session, can anyone of the community board, a truly full good standing community member, participate in that executive session, or is it only for members of that committee?
Can I respond to that?
Yes, go ahead, Andrew.
Yeah, I'm the chairperson of the Budget Personnel Ethics Committee. There are occasions where in executive session, the business that is being entertained might involve a conflict of interest of a board member. So therefore, that board member would be excluded from that executive session part of that committee.
Okay, thank you, Andrew. All right, does that answer your question, Lowell?
So it means if I'm not on a committee that goes into executive session, I can still join that executive session, correct? Andrew?
That's correct, except if the business purpose of that meeting would create a conflict of interest if that board member were in part of that executive session.
Okay, thank you, Andrew.
Okay.
We're going to move on. Yahaira? Chairperson's update.
Hi, everybody. Good evening. Since becoming chair, it's been a lot of things have been happening that I've had to take on my end. A few things that I'm gonna share with everybody. I have a new email address, which I will circulate more than likely tomorrow. So any emails pertaining to the board will no longer go to my email that everyone knows now, which is arias318@gmail.com. It will be to the new email address given to me by the city and the VP's office as chair of the board. So please be on the lookout for that, because that will be the new email where you will need to correspond with me as to board business, okay? The second thing is, since becoming chair, like I said, I've had several meetings with the BP's office as to do's and don'ts, EEO policy, things like that. So it's been, a bunch of Zooms in between day to day for me. And I just wanted to share that with you. So if you haven't heard from me or haven't responded back right away to an email, just be aware that if it's during the day, I may be in meetings with the BP's office I was in BP's meetings office during the first couple of weeks since becoming chair. Last two things, I have assembled the screening committee. We will be, for the hiring of the new DM, that committee will be meeting Wednesday, December 14th at 6:30 p.m. This is an in-person meeting. It's going to be at the Bronx Library Center. There are rules and regulations to this meeting, which will be given more extensively as maybe tomorrow or Wednesday morning that will come out, but that screening committee has been assembled. I want to give millions of thank you to the staff, Barbara, and all the board members who attended the tree lighting. We had a blast. The weather was great and it was very, very enjoyable. I can't say enough. I was smiling from ear to ear. It was such a great time. Also, to those board members who participated in any turkey giveaways, because we had Thanksgiving before the tree, right? So thank you to those who participated around the district, giving around turkeys and giving our food to those in need. I think it's great that we do that. The flagging event, Veterans Committee, thank you. I know I was very sick for that. I didn't get to make it, but I thank you all for every participation at every event. And that is all for me for now, Barbara.
Okay, any questions for our new chair? No.
Yeah, I have a question.
Okay, go ahead, Betty.
Do we know who the committee is, the screening committee is for the DM? Is that public or is that not public?
Oh yeah, I can say who they are.
Okay.
Okay. The members of the committees are as follows: Andrew Leosa, Janelle Robinson, Michelle Avila, Eric Asensio, and myself.
Okay, thank you.
Jahira, I hate to jump in, but folks need to know this was sent in an email. If you are a board member that is interested in applying to be district manager, you cannot attend any of these meetings. And I repeat, cannot attend. You have to recuse yourself from any discussions as it relates to putting together a job description, questions for the interview, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And you have to disclose during the vote of the district manager that you have applied in public and therefore cannot abstain. Your vote cannot be counted in any way, shape, or form. This was sent via email to all the board members, but I'm reiterating just in case anyone, I know these emails sometimes get overlooked because they're lengthy, but understand that these are the rules. And I'll resend, well, Carlo will resend the rules of the hiring process that have slightly changed since I was hired. So now, and this is the chairperson's creation of the hiring committee is considered an ad hoc committee. So she assembles and obviously when it's done, it's dissolved. Just wanted
Thank
to,
you.
and they will be trained, Barbara. This is important, Barbara. I'm sorry. I'm
Oh,
not
okay.
trying to cut anybody off, but understand that these people, once Jahira is selected, have to be submitted to the borough president's office, and they will be trained on how to interview properly the candidates that will be selected. So I want to disclose that because I think it's important that folks understand that process has changed, but for the better and for more transparency and accountability.
Okay, good. Thank you. All right, we'll move on. We have one motion this evening. I believe it's coming from the Education Committee. Lori's, do you want to take over and tell us about your motion?
Sure thing. Thank you, Barbara. Hello, CB7. I have to pull this up. I was not ready, but the motion is to support the council member Eric Dinowitz's IEP bill. I'm so sorry, I gotta pull this up real quick. But I'm so sorry. Give me like 20 seconds. I'm almost there.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. So as I said, it's the motion is for BXCB7 to write a letter of support for an IEP bill, which is INT 660-2022. And it's basically a bill that will require the mayor's office for people with disabilities to establish a program to help high school students with disabilities who are graduating in the current school year to obtain accommodations at institutions of higher education. So basically it's to protect students with different abilities to have those accommodations when entering the higher educational spaces. If I can put it in even simpler terms, it will, establish a program to help high school students with disabilities who are, to get those accommodations, like developing and implementing a system of shared information with institutions about students' special education services, awareness, and other advocacy programs.
Okay, do we have a second for Lori's motion?
I'll second it, Chad Royer.
Thank you, Chad. Any questions or discussion before we go to a vote?
I have a question, but I can't find my hand.
Oh, go ahead, Chad.
Okay, so my question is, would this apply to state approved, if you happen to know the answers, state approved non-public schools that are not part of the regular schools that we see all the time? Is there any language that separates the different type of high schools that would be included?
From my understanding, it's New York City high school students. So I guess if you're referring to like a charter school or a private school or a Catholic school, it would still apply to them.
Okay, because I know there are some state approved non-public schools in district that are not always in your neighborhood. So I was just curious, but that's fine. Thank you.
Okay. All right, we will take a vote on the motion.
I'm sorry, Barbara, I have a question also.
Okay, go ahead.
So is this for, okay, I understand it's for high school students with disability, right? So is the program intended to have higher education, colleges and universities provide these services?
So I believe, yes, that I think that these institutions have these programs already, but they're not like, there's no direct connection for these students. So it's a way of mandating these schools to provide them.
So like a private university like Columbia will have to comply to this? Or is this for like a city university like CUNY?
The way the bill is worded is just institutions of higher education. So it doesn't say only CUNY or only, it's pretty much any, the way it's worded is any institution of higher education.
All
So
right,
I guess I would have to defer to the councilman's office just to confirm, but that's the way I'm interpreting it.
okay, we have a few more.
And the council office requested this from you?
So yeah, basically, I guess the way, and this is my first time, so I do appreciate these questions because maybe this will help me understand it more. I guess bills in general, I guess it helps when they hear from the public, meaning, and the fact that they presented this at the education committee and we were all in support of it. This is a way to help pass this bill forward.
Got it. So this was presented at the education committee in November.
Correct.
Okay.
I see two more hands. Andrew, you're on.
I don't know if I can vote on this because I'm completely confused and don't understand, and I don't see how this is a city council and pass bill mandating a university how they should process or accept, or what kind of accommodations they have to make to people with disabilities. I mean, I think on a federal level, those are laws that are followed. I'm confused. Maybe if you could give us the bill, I could maybe quickly look it up and.
Yeah, I was about to post it in the chat,
Thank
but I don't know if I'm able to anymore.
All right.
So
Yeah,
if
but
I
Andrew, if I'm not mistaken,
if I can read this to you, Andrew, it says this bill will require the mayor's office for people of disabilities to establish a program to help high school students with disabilities who are graduating in the current school year obtain accommodations at institutions of higher education. As part of such program, MOPD will develop and implement a system to share information with institutions about its student special education services and provide students with student advocates for related supports. And this bill will also require the Mayor's Office of People with Disabilities to conduct outreach on the program and to annually submit a report on the program and the outreach to the mayor and the speaker of the council and post it on this website. That's what the bill states.
All right, we have a few more hands. Go ahead, Ben. You're on.
Yeah, I share Andrew's concern. I don't know if a city council can, I mean, it seems like what they're trying to say is that the student's IEP is gonna follow them into their new, if they're going into an institution of higher learning. If this applies to institutions of higher learning only within New York City, New York State, outside, I can't tell. I would think that a student who with special needs, this information would be shared with the institution. I'm just wondering what the background is as to why this is necessary. But and I'm also a little confused about how this would be enforced. The idea that we would get the city council, the mayor's office would get a report on a yearly basis. I don't know how realistic that is, and where how this program will actually be implemented, in terms of identifying students who are going into colleges, students who have special needs, and then what would be the expectation at the other end of on the institution side, the higher institution side. That's just.
Loris, do you want to answer that, or should?
Yeah, I will say I guess I have some homework to do. I'm not prepared to answer all of these questions. I kind of wish I had a rep from their office here, but the way it was presented to us at our committee meeting was to basically assist this often forgotten group of students. And I don't think a bill is something that mandates anything. It's more of like an idea to one day help establish that program. But I do understand the questions and concerns.
Okay. Michelle, you have your hand up?
Yeah, thanks, Barbara. So in reading the actual bill, I think what Lourdes is sharing is right. It's not mandating So anything that they wouldn't have jurisdiction over, it's asking a city office in the mayor's office that already exists to work with students, like all of the parties involved, to create a system where they would be able to share information about the student's disability, but the student has to opt into that system. So that's in the language. It also would encourage that there be advocates, student advocates for students going into the system, so that there is like a plan for proper transition. And again, parties have to opt in. It's not like it's going to happen blanket. It sounds like it's more creating an office that's going to bring together resources for students with disabilities and say like, hey, here's a college guide. You know, if these are the services that should be available to you or are available to you, and that way folks go into the college process knowing that and not navigating this on a piecemeal basis.
Okay, thank you, Michelle, for the clarification. So from what you have said, I'm assuming that they will set up a system of aiding these students, but right now it hasn't been established as yet.
Correct. And that's in the bill, and that's in the bill language. If you look up the bill, you can see the summary, and then you can go in specifically to the text, and it outlines the specific intent and purpose and how this would be implemented in the bill.
Okay, so it'll be a while yet. Thank you.
The bill has been, the link to the bill was posted on the chat.
Okay, thank you, Eric. Any other questions before we vote? All right. All right. Lori, do you want to just repeat the motion?
Sure thing. The motion is to support or for the community board, Bronx Community Board 7, to write a letter of support for IEP Bill INT 660-2022 to the office of Council Member Eric Dinowitz.
Thank you. All right, Barbara Stronka votes yes on this bill and the letter. All right, Eric Asensio.
Eric Asensio votes yes.
Okay. Betty Arce.
Okay, I'll vote, Betty Arce votes yes.
Okay, thank you. Yahira.
Yahira Arias votes yes.
Okay. Michelle.
Michelle Avila votes yes.
Thank you. Andrew.
Andrew Leosa supports the motion.
Good. Lauris.
Lauris Acosta votes yes.
Good. Edgar.
Edgar Ramos supports the motion.
Thank you. Chad. Chad Royer.
You there?
Chad. All right, the motion carries.
What about Barbara, somehow on this Excel spreadsheet, you did a
Yeah, I see that. I'll fix it. up.
summation, okay,
Yeah,
just summation.
Will do, right. Well,
Okay.
everybody voted yes, and Chad, I don't know whether he's off or whatever. All right, we'll move the agenda. Any new business that anybody would like to bring up?
I just wanted to ask about, this new, that, what is it, a cannabis store shop that's opened on 204th
Yes,
Street?
yes.
Has
By
it,
Cloud.
I had shared the New York Times article about that this is not one of the newly registered shops that the city has awarded permits to. So I don't know where this sits in the scheme of things. and whether we'll be seeing a proliferation of these shops. Because I understand that the mayor's office is kind of taking a sort of like a hands-off approach to dealing with these unregistered stores. I also read that the medical marijuana establishment, like the one on Fordham Road that came to our meeting a while back, may be able to register to provide this will be recreational marijuana. So that's another issue that's coming up. And I'm not really sure how I feel about any of this right now. I'm just concerned that these unregistered locations are popping up, maybe popping up, and whatever product they have, from what I read, everything, anyone who becomes a duly registered marijuana purveyor has to only sell product that is grown in New York State. So I don't know if any of these other unregistered entities are following suit, and whether in fact at some point the city may go after them. I think they'll leave it to complaints before they do anything at all. So I don't know if anybody has any opinion on that at all. That's the extent of it.
Thank you, Betty, for the information. All right,
Sorry, Barbara, can I
Go ahead,
respond to the
Michelle.
second part of that? So when that business came to the committee, I remember in their presentation, they said that they weren't intending in getting into the recreational marijuana business, that they had like this established model to do the medical cannabis, and that's what they would follow. So if you read that, they're considering differently, I'd love to reach out to them and just hear directly from them if that is the plan, and what's changed. Obviously, we know New York is now doing this licensing process, but I specifically recall they said that they weren't considering it at that time.
Right, and it's not
Is
that.
this Vera Life? Is this Vera Life?
Yes.
Yeah.
No, they cannot. They cannot. There are rules when you apply for medicinal marijuana facilities versus recreational. Right now, they are not on the list, and no, they cannot apply.
I'm not saying that they applied. I'm saying that I read that they may be changing the rules to allow establishments that offer medical marijuana to perhaps also offer recreational marijuana down the line. That's what I was.
Oh, that's a genuine fear. Absolutely. And I said this the first time, that is a genuine fear. But as of right now, yeah, they're not.
Oh, yeah, no, they're not
yeah.
gonna do it now, but I'm saying that there might be an opening because the city may be relaxing those rules. That's all I'm saying.
They could. The only thing is that they would have to provide a separate space, because folks that are getting medical marijuana versus recreational cannot coexist for tax purposes in the same place.
Okay. Thank you, Aisha, for the clarification. All
Okay,
right,
Barbara, can I just want
yes, go ahead.
No, I just want to reiterate the ad hoc hiring committee. I just want to make that clear to everybody, just to put it all together, right? Just circling back a little bit. It's going to take place, the meeting is going to take place on Wednesday at 6:30 at the Bronx Library Center. The members, I'm going to say them again. Michelle Avila is our chair, Janelle Robinson, Eric Asensio, Andrew Leosa, and myself. This is instructions were sent by the DM. We will circulate them again, just so that everybody is aware. And if you're applying, if you're a member, you're applying, just like Aisha said before, you must abstain from any of the conversations in the meetings. We just want everybody to understand that these are the rules, and we need to follow them. So I hope those that are going to be available on Wednesday, we see everybody there.
Okay, thank you. All right, we'll move on to committee reports. Andrew, Budget, Personnel, and Ethics, you're on.
The Budget Personnel Ethics Committee met this evening, and we had to adjourn because of time constraints to continue taking up a personnel matter. That's it. And the date has not been determined yet. We have to juggle our complicated calendars.
Yeah. Thank you, Andrew. All right, we'll move on to education, youth, and libraries. Lori, do you have anything else to add?
Aside from us voting on that motion, there was an update on Dewey Clinton's high school, specifically addressing community concerns about the pool. So all of that is in the updates on that are on our minutes. That is all.
Thank you. Environment and sanitation, Betty?
The committee didn't meet in December. We'll move on to meeting in January.
All right. Health and Human Services, Michelle Avila.
Sure, our committee didn't meet this month and will resume in January.
Okay, thank you. Housing, Land Use, and Economic Development, Eric?
We hosted the EDC and talks about the Kingsbridge Armory. They spoke about the findings that they had in the November 5th workshop. And the next workshop is tentatively January 21st.
Okay, thank you, Eric. Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Affairs. A big thank you to everybody, especially the staff who made this tree lighting one of our best. We were grateful for all those who came out. Our next parks meeting will host the Amateur Astronomers Association. They are planning a public observatory in Jerome Park, so that should be very interesting. Everybody is invited. And the next committee, Public Safety and Quality of Life. Is there anyone here from that committee? No? All right, we'll move on. Traffic and Transportation, Edgar?
Good evening. We didn't have a December meeting, so hope to have a January meeting and we'll let everybody know.
Thank you. Veterans Affairs, Chad?
Yes, good evening. So we had our meeting in November after the general meeting. So we discussed a few things. We had a representative from the Union Community Health Center discuss free services to veterans throughout their mobile vans, including hearing screenings, mental screenings, and dental screenings. The goals that they have is to reach out to areas where veterans would congregate so that more veterans can take advantage of the services. They're also going to be looking to expand their network next year. We had the Bronx Victory Memorial event that was scheduled for the Saturday as of that week. It was a good turnout. We're going to be doing that on a yearly basis. We also brought up information on imposter scams that are targeting our veterans, those who are serving, and the family members, where they impersonate members of financial institutions like Navy Federal, USAA, where they ask for key information like social, name, address, bank account, and they try to use tactics to make you react right away, like your card was canceled, there's fraud in your account. So we're asking folks not to give information to anyone who randomly calls. And I posted a link on the minutes for folks to check in. Folks can also look at reportfraud.ftc.gov and militaryconsumer.gov for reporting such activity. We anticipate our next meeting to be January 18th of 2023, barring any scheduled conflicts with holidays and such.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I apologize, my computer cut out. I wanted to vote yes in favor of the motion for Bill 660. I don't know if that moment passed, but I wanted to vote yes.
Yes, it did. We were looking for you.
Yeah,
Okay,
thank you.
all right. Ad hoc bylaws committee is Myrna on? No.
But
Okay,
I can, we did not meet in November. I believe we're gonna be taking up the bylaws again, come January.
Thank you. All right, any follow-up from our previous meeting that anyone would like to discuss? All right, at this point, we don't know if we will be in person for next month. And we will just have to wait and see what the mayor does and the governor. All right, are there any items that anyone would like included on the agenda for next month? All right, any other issues that anyone would like to bring up? Speak now.
Barbara?
Yes.
So we are going to, I'm just going by a list of things that I have on my desk.
Okay.
We're also gonna have nominations for the position of secretary.
All right, yes.
It's very important. Somebody has to take over what I've been doing. So nominations will be taken and we will have a vote come, you'll have a new secretary.
Okay, so the nominations will be made then at our January meeting, correct?
No, they will be done tomorrow,
Oh, tomorrow will be the nominations?
nominations, yes.
Wow, that's fast, okay. All
Okay,
right, and then
so,
the vote will be the following month, I think.
correct.
Okay, thank you. All right, any other issues? All right, do we have a motion to?
Barbara,
Yes, yes,
snow removal in January,
yes.
if we get a lot of snow. That's the only thing I can think of.
Snow removal,
What about snow removal?
what about it?
If it becomes an issue with the parks and the sidewalks.
Oh. Okay, I will certainly remind the Parks Department at the next Parks meeting.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, any other items? Okay, can I get a motion to close the meeting for this evening? Remember, tomorrow night, we're on at 6:30 for our monthly meeting. We'll see everybody again.
Motion to adjourn.
And to close.
I'll
Okay,
second.
thank you. Second, everybody in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, good night, everybody.
Good night.